Number 1. Lord Timothy Dexter, the dumb genius who got rich. Timothy Dexter was born in 1747 in Massachusetts. He had no formal education and was basically the kind of guy who would have asked how to spell IQ. Nevertheless, he married a wealthy widow because being a gold digger was an actual profession back then. With his newly acquired wealth, Dexter decided to become a businessman. But here's the amazing part. Every single dumb decision he made somehow made him richer. First, he shipped so-called bed warmers to the Caribbean. You know those metal pans that you fill with hot coals to warm beds in cold climates? Dexter thought tropical islands near the equator needed those. Everyone laughed at him until some sugar plantation owners in the Caribbean bought the entire shipment to use them as ladles for molasses. Then Dexter sent wool gloves to the South Pacific, also not exactly a common item on tropical islands. A group of Portuguese traders bought all the gloves to resell them in Siberia, unintentionally creating a small trade route. His next project was selling coal to Newcastle. If you're not from England, that's like selling sand to the Sahara. At the time, Newcastle was literally the coal capital of the world. But guess what? Just a few days before Dexter's shipment arrived, a miners' strike had broken out, so everyone bought his coal. But his strangest project was hoarding bones from dead whales. Why? No one knows. But then, for some unknown reason, corsets made from exactly those bones suddenly became fashionable in Europe, and once again, Dexter made a fortune. At some point, Dexter decided he needed to sound more important, so he simply called himself Lord Timothy Dexter, even though he had absolutely no noble blood. He built a mansion and placed creepy wooden statues of famous figures on his lawn, including a 4.5-meter or 15-foot-tall statue of himself holding a plaque that read, "I am the first in the East, the first in the West, and the greatest philosopher of the Western world." He also wrote a book, and I use the word book very loosely here. It was called Pickle for the Knowing Ones, and it was basically a rambling rant about politics, his wife, and whatever else was on his mind. It contained zero punctuation, just a wall of chaotic text that read like a drunken Reddit thread. Critics said, "Hey man, maybe use some punctuation." So, in the second edition, Dexter just added an entire page full of randomly placed commas and periods with the instruction for readers to insert them wherever they felt necessary. Toward the end of his life, Dexter decided to stage his own funeral just to see how many people would show up. Over 3,000 people came, and he was so thrilled by the huge turnout that he beat his wife because she didn't seem sad enough. Not cool, Timothy. Finally, in 1806, he actually died, leaving behind a legacy of idiotic business success, a haunted statue garden, and the most chaotic book ever published. Number 2. Rasputin, the Immortal Sex Wizard. Let's continue with a man responsible for one of the most legendary songs of all time. Rasputin was a Siberian peasant who sneaked into the Russian Tsar's family at the beginning of the 20th century by claiming he could heal their hemophiliac son. Whether he actually had magical healing powers or just knew how to properly apply a bandage remains disputed to this day. But one thing is certain. This guy was wild. Rasputin convinced people that he was a holy man while simultaneously being drunk, sleeping with numerous women, and boasting about his penis. Speaking of his penis, allegedly, his prized possession was 33 centimeters long and was preserved in a jar after his death. Yes, you heard that right. There is a Rasputin penis exhibition in Russia. Rasputin also survived multiple assassination attempts. In 1916, a group of nobles decided to get rid of him, apparently because he had slept with their wives or something like that. Here's how it went down. First, they poisoned his wine and a piece of cake he was supposed to eat. Rasputin ate and drank like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet, and nothing happened, so they shot him in the chest. He collapsed, then got back up as if nothing had happened. Panicking, they fired 2 more bullets into his body. He was still not dead. Finally, they beat him with clubs and threw his body into an icy river. It was only after the autopsy that it was revealed he had actually died from drowning. This means that when they threw him into the river, he was still alive. This man ate cyanide, took 3 bullets, got beaten like a piñata, and still had to be drowned in the end. Number 3. Tarare, the man who ate everything. Tarare was a Frenchman from the late 18th century who had a very unique trait. He was always hungry, and not just a, "oh, I could go for a snack right now" kind of hungry. This guy would literally eat live animals and garbage just to feel something. His appetite was so grotesque that doctors studied him, and their scientific conclusion was basically, yeah, no idea what the hell is wrong with this guy. Here are some highlights from Tarare's diet. He devoured live eels by simply swallowing them whole. He was caught sneaking into the morgue to eat human corpses. And last but not least, he was once suspected of eating a toddler. At one point, the French army hired him as a spy because they thought he could swallow secret documents and smuggle them across enemy lines undetected. Tarare was caught immediately because a man who literally eats everything is not exactly the best candidate for a secret agent. In the end, Tarare died of tuberculosis, but his autopsy revealed that his body was so rotten on the inside that the doctors could smell him from across the room. Number 4. Emperor Zhu Houzhao, the party goblin of the Ming dynasty. The boy became emperor of China at the age of 14, but instead of using his power to lead China into a golden age, he turned the empire into his personal playground. Zhu literally had an entire fake city built next to his own city, equipped with fake markets, brothels, and even a prison, just so he could pretend to be an ordinary policeman and arrest people. He even created his own royal alter ego, General Zhu. Although he was already emperor, he awarded himself the rank of general and personally led military campaigns while neglecting all actual government duties. One of his other hobbies was hosting animal fight parties. Zhu collected exotic animals like tigers and leopards, not because he loved nature, but because he found it amusing to set them loose on people and watch them fight against peasants. In the end, he died in a truly ridiculous way. During one of his adventures, Zhu fell into an ice-cold river, caught an infection, and died at just 29 years old. Number 5. Emperor Nero, the craziest emperor of all time. Nero is primarily known for allegedly playing the lyre while Rome burned.
Nero, the artist who creates with fire, that the dreams of my life may come true.
Let's get this straight right away. No, Nero did not fiddle while Rome burned, but he was a musician, and most likely he set the fire himself, destroying a large part of the city. Nero considered himself a great artist. He loved performing in front of an audience, whether they liked it or not. Just imagine you had to attend a mandatory concert where the emperor forced you to watch his terrible singing and acting, and no one could leave early unless they wanted to be thrown to the lions. He also had his own mother murdered after she tried to control him. He invited her onto a specially designed ship built to sink. When she survived the sinking, Nero grew impatient and simply had her stabbed instead. After the Great Fire of Rome, Nero blamed the Christians for the catastrophe and started one of the first major persecutions of this religion. His execution methods were, let's say, creative. He covered Christians in tar, had them hunted by wild dogs, or set them on fire to illuminate his garden parties. In short, Nero was a pyromaniac with a passion for art. Thanks for watching. See the video on your screen? Well, YouTube thinks this one might interest you as well, so go ahead and check it out if you like.